to have a great time, and we're gonna start recording this wonderful get together. And right now, from the ITHF virtual meeting, you have Madhu, who is going to be our ITHF president effective July 1st. She will be the ITHF president, and she's our administrator, our computer guru. So we rely on her for everything. Madhu, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, everyone. We are doing this coffee and cocktail connection after a long gap. So it's just all of us, whoever has made connections within the last few months, of course, besides Melbourne. We would really like to hear from all of you. And I hope all of you are receiving all the informations from MailChimp being sent out. So I do remember that some of you had mentioned that not receiving. So hopefully all of you are receiving that. Yes, over to Alicia to go ahead. Thank you.
And I'm Alicia Risorgan, and as I mentioned, I live in Macungie, Pennsylvania. Excuse me. I've been a Rotarian for a long time. Do you believe that? 32 years. And I am very glad to be a part of the ITHF virtual committee, and I welcome you. We hope that you continue to join us. As you know, this is more of a getting to know each other and chat about anything that you want to talk about and enjoy it. And everybody should have the opportunity to tell us whatever you want to tell us, whatever you want to know, ask questions from anybody. Anything is rather informal. We'll be having, at the end, I'll be going over the future virtual tours that we have, which we hope you will join us, because we have some interesting tours, but I'll go over that at the end of the session. And so this is really for us to get to know each other, make connections. Again, if there's anything you want to know from the areas that we are, our clubs, anything that you would like to share with us, you will be more than welcome. And I guess if I were to start this, I would say, would anybody, you're an ITHF member, so has anybody traveled recently somewhere that was really awesome and you want to tell us about it? Or about yourselves? Who would like to start? Who would like to start? Anyone? Come on. Or should I just say, ask somebody?
John
John
raised his hand.
Oh, John, go ahead, John.
Okay.
Well, I'm not feeling very well, but I have a bad cold. But the interesting thing, I was at the convention, and my wife and I had signed up for the tour after the convention, which didn't happen because there weren't enough people signed up. But I got a hold of the woman in Australia that had set those tours up to see if there was something else that we could take in the time frame we had, because we'd already had our air tickets. And she said, yes, there's one. And you just fly to Adelaide and it'll go all around South Australia. And so we flew to Adelaide and got to the hotel. The tour was going to start from the next morning. We had no idea how many were going to be on it. We came down to the lobby the next morning. There was one woman there, an Australian woman from outside of Melbourne. And she said, I think I'm it. So there was 3 of us and a guide and a driver, which turned out to be fabulous. We had a wonderful, wonderful tour of South Australia. And of course, with 3 people or 4 of us total, we could do a lot of things that you'd never do on a big tour. It was really exciting. So you just never know what's going to happen in life. And Alicia, you haven't been at Rotary so long. I've been at Rotary for 53 years. In fact, on July 9th, it'll be 54.
Wow. Wow. That's a long time.
Long time.
Yes. Yes. Anybody else wants to share something else with us? How about you, Candy? Do you want to share anything? Oh, you're eating. How about you, Barbara? Do you want to share anything with us?
I was going to share. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yes.
sure. Go ahead, Debbie.
I wasn't sure. I'm sorry to miss the conference in Melbourne. I was in Spain and Portugal at the time. I don't know, I'm not always good at finding Rotarians to meet. So when I was in Croatia, I met with one of our members in Zagreb and had dinner with he and his wife. And I happened, walking back to my hotel, they had this symphony in the park, the National Symphony Croatia. And the primary artist was a violinist from Ukraine, a beautiful young woman. It's almost unfair to be beautiful and so talented, but she happened to be staying at my hotel. So I met her the next morning and I forwarded her information to our symphony director here in Asheville, and I hope to get her here. But it was really wonderful meeting with, somebody in country. And I'm not real sure how, I'm traveling a lot right now because I'm getting older. I think you got to do it while you're physically able. And, I don't think there's anybody in Tanzania. That's my next place. But I'll be spending a month in Scandinavia. And, it'd be great to run into some people there if we have members up there.
Yes, we do have. I'll connect with you. I'll send you an email separately, and I'll let you know who the members are in Scandinavia.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yes,
Because I'm
remember
meeting a young couple that I met hiking in Panama, in Finland. They could be my grandchildren, but we bonded. So I know I'm going to be seeing them in Finland.
Very good. What, Kimberly, you have your hand up. Where's Kimberly?
Yes, sorry, I needed to
Oh, nice.
unmute. Yeah, at the convention, first of all, I did the Tasmania tour, which was totally awesome. It's one of the hidden gems on the planet. Tasmania is startlingly beautiful. And I had such a wonderful time and met some really wonderful Rotarians. Went early and stayed with a PDG who I had hosted at my house in Florida a few years ago, he and his wife. And so I stayed a few days with them before the tour started. So I got to see even more of Hobart than I might have been able to see. But at the convention, I met some people, chatting with people as you do, from Kenya. And I happen to be going to Nairobi next month to teach a class at the embassy. And I have an invitation to attend their Rotary meeting there. We traded names and they sent me an email, and so I'm going to meet some Rotarians in Nairobi next month. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's just amazing how, I know we're international. I know that's our name, but it always still is so surprisingly wonderful when it turns out to be really true and you meet the most amazing people. I look sometimes at my Facebook, my list of friends on Facebook, and I realize that about half of them are Rotarians.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that with us, Kimberly. And anyone else would like to share anything?
Can I just share,
Sheena?
please? I was hoping to do the Darwin trip that was advertised before the convention, but there weren't enough people on it. But on one of these meetings, I met Simi, and she invited me to travel with her and her husband. So we started at the top of Australia in Darwin and had 4 days there. Then we caught the Garn train, which is one of the world's great trains, down to Adelaide, 4-day trip. And then we had days in Adelaide, and then went to the convention in Melbourne and had a few days there before the convention, which was really good. But carrying on from what Kimberly said, I met somebody at the booth. Those of you who were in Brazil with me in November will remember Sarah. And Sarah came along, she's from Kenya, and she came along with a friend, and her friend said she was coming to New Zealand straight after convention. Unfortunately, I was not able to get to Auckland. I had other commitments, but I contacted somebody I knew in Auckland who's in Rotary, and she showed her around for the few days she was there. So again, really wonderful international connections, which I just love about ITHF.
Oh, very good. Anyone else? Just go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to report back from Convention City, how it was very nice hosting ITHFers over that period leading up to the convention and through the convention and after it. And then I thought, well, okay, I want to escape this Melbourne winter and go north. And I'm looking out the window now in Melbourne and it's gorgeous blue sky and sunshine. So I'm wondering why I'm doing it. But anyway, I'm trusting in the weather in places like Vancouver and Chicago and Boston, Toronto, that you'll get some of the, and I'm not madly keen on the pouring rain I hear that's happening in the States at the moment, but you've got a month to get your act together.
Leslie, do you want to say something?
Yes, I've had 3 terrific connections this year. I travelled to New Zealand in March and stayed with Darren in Christchurch, and she was a wonderful host, showed me around the area for a couple of days, and that was terrific. Then I had Madhu pre the convention, which was wonderful, except as Tim might remember, I wasn't able to show her any decent weather. It rained nearly most of the time when we went out with Madhu's camera to do some bird photography. And then I had Chuck Fisher after the convention. So it was terrific to get to know everyone. And even at the booth at the convention, it was great to actually meet people in person rather than just a flat screen. So that was terrific, yeah.
Very good. Yes, I think it's always so much better when you meet people right in person and you're able to, give them a hug or shake their hands
Yes,
and everything. It just makes a whole difference every time you go anywhere. Okay, I'm gonna pick somebody and see if they want to tell us something, and if whenever you want to just raise your hand or do it with the share screen icons that are there. If you go to the share screen, you'll see you there, the hand, you can raise your hand, or just raise it like that, and I can see it and give you the opportunity to share with us anything you want to share. Anybody that wants to raise their hand? Okay, Karen. You are muted, Karen. Please unmute yourself. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Yes. Now we can hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. We haven't made any connections in quite a while, but I recently received a email from Tim Reynolds, and I
Yes, something happened
see
to you.
respond to him. We're about an hour outside of New York. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit, but we can hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
So from Tim Reynolds,
You can hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I received an email from Tim, and I just saw that he was on the chat here. So I want him to know that I will respond to him about possibly connecting in early August when he is in New York.
Oh, very
And
good.
yeah, we live
fabulous.
about
Thanks, Karen.
1 hour out on Long Island from New York City. So I don't know if he thinks we're in New York City. We're not.
So Karen
I've
is our
been to
new
Long
member.
Island.
Hi, Tim.
G'day, Karen.
Karen is our new member. Welcome, Karen.
No, we've been members for quite a while, and we've connected in previous years, but not for a while.
Well, we're glad to have you back, and please keep coming back, because every month we have something in virtual, and I'll be going over the trips that are already scheduled for several areas at the end of our session. So please
Thank you.
come back and join us, because we have a lot of interesting things going on that you will really enjoy. Now I have John Henderson. Before that, John, let me talk to Carol, and then you'll be next. Carol, do you want to share something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, as Sheena was saying, some of us went on the trip to Brazil and we're on the call tonight. But one of the ladies, Roberta, lives in Colorado, and she's coming to, I live in Kingston, Ontario, or outside of Kingston, and she's coming in about a week, and she's landing in Syracuse, and she will be spending a week with us here in Kingston. So we're really looking forward to that. And this is all because of ITHF.
Very good. Well, thank you. We're glad that ITHF is really helping. We really are. Anything else you want to share, Carol? Okay. Not at the moment. Okay, John, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just, you know, at the convention, and of course, at the booth, we met so many people. One couple, Bill and Kathy Wayhoff from Ohio, and he got a hold of me after the convention. They're going to be here a couple nights in early August. But I also wanted to extend a welcome to Tim Reynolds. I'm not far from Chicago, just over the border in Wisconsin, and we'd love to have you come. We live on a golf course and we have a cottage on a lake 8 minutes from our house. So we'd love to have you come up and spend a day or two with us or more if you like.
Well, and
Thanks a lot, John.
And if you make it down to the Philadelphia area, you're welcome to my country. Yes, this area over here.
I would like to mention that my town of Asheville, North Carolina has been ranked in the top 3 best places to move to because of climate change. So if anybody passes through here, we have gorgeous mountains and lots of culture, and we're supposedly about 100,000 people. Well, we get over 50 million tourists a year, 11 million tourists a year, excuse me.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, I have an upstairs and I've hosted several Rotarians over the years.
Very good. Very
If I'm
good.
in
Thank you.
Tell us again where you are.
I'm in Asheville, North Carolina.
Ah,
Yeah, we keep we have people just moving here like crazy, which is driving up the cost of living and the cost of housing, you know, from all over the country and even some from other countries, because we do have moderate seasons. And we don't have hurricanes, we don't have earthquakes, we don't have tornadoes. We have bears that roam. You have to watch out your garbage can. The bears will get into it. We have wild turkeys. You know, it's a neat place, but I really enjoy visiting other places. And like I said, I'm a klutzy type of hostess, but I do have lots of room.
Thank you very much, Debbie. And I see that Andy has his hand up. Andy?
Yeah, I'm Andy Ullman, belong to Rotary Club of River Cities, which we're just outside of Chicago, just north of O'Hare Airport in Chicago. And I'm actually right now in Quito, Ecuador. We also have a residence here. My wife is from Ecuador. So we're here for a few weeks. If anybody's interested ever in visiting Ecuador, I'd be happy to help. There's a lot of interesting things here. Quito is in the mountains.
Oh, Andy, I was there teaching a class at the embassy. This is Kimberly. I was just there.
Oh, okay.
Next time I go, I'll remember.
Yeah, I mean, I just got here on Wednesday evening, but
Oh, okay.
But it's you know, there's a lot of things to do here. Where Quito is at about 2,800 meters altitude, which is around 9,000 feet, a little over 9,000 feet. But you got a lot of other things to do in Ecuador. Like we're going Monday to the jungle. Once you go down the mountains to the east, you're in the Amazon basin. If you go to the west, you have the beach, the Pacific Ocean, and there's lots of different things as you go up and north and south through Ecuador, through all the different valleys and the mountainous areas. So a lot of cool things here. And as I mentioned, I live near O'Hare Airport. If anybody is coming through Chicago, be happy to help you out. I know Tim's coming to see us next month, so I think we've got a decent arrangement for him there. And actually another Rotarian who just joined ITHF is lending her residence in downtown Chicago, and we have some cousins from Ecuador actually coming back right after we return to Chicago, and they're staying with us for a month, so we don't have space. So but Tim should be okay downtown. I know Sue and James who are on here, we met for coffee in Chicago a couple of months ago, So, it's great to have those interactions. Also, going back to last year, I was hosted by Rosette Nabuma, who is not on here. Visited Uganda and had a wonderful time there. So, I've only been involved with ITHF for a few years, but I think it's been already a great experience, and just keep looking for new experiences, both traveling and hosting.
Very good. Leslie, you have your hand up, and then Pam. Let me talk to Leslie, and then Pam after you, Leslie.
I've just got two questions, perhaps a little bit off the topic, but Maddie was working really hard during the convention. How many extra ITHF members did you sign up?
25.
Oh, terrific. Well done.
Thank
And the other question is to Susan. That is definitely not Australia in the background. So, Susan, are you at home, or are you at Niagara or somewhere?
That's actually the falls at Iguazu. We are at home at the moment, so yes. Yeah. Actually about to head north to do the GAN trip that we couldn't do after the convention.
Right.
So, yeah.
Pam, you wanted to say something?
Okay, and as far as I'm in North Queensland, I also went to the convention. Unfortunately, I wasn't very well, but I did 2 days of volunteering in the registration area. So I met heaps and heaps of people. Some were ITHF, met some lovely people from Nepal who were still registering and trying to get their stuff done. I also hosted Chuck Fisher from the US, and that was before the convention. And as well, Liggy and Tanya Wolf came to Harvey Bay and had some time here. Unfortunately, they're both not on today, but we had great time with them for about 3 days, and they did a train trip from Cairns down to Melbourne. So they were traveling quite a bit. So overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it, meeting lots and lots of people, and even some of the ones that are traveling from the US, forget the name of them, but they own a vineyard in the US. And I said, well, you're doing so much traveling, why aren't you in ITHF? And he said, well, he knew about it, and he would look at joining up when they returned home. So let's see what happens with that. But it was a great convention, great to meet so many people, and yes, I had a great time too.
Very good. Well, that's what the conventions also bring, the opportunity to meet so many people and make the connections. But I'm so glad that ITHF, for what you're expressing, is fulfilling its purpose, and we want to continue seeing you, and especially in our virtual. But certainly, I hope that sometime I have the opportunity to meet you in one of these trips. And somebody, let's see. I am going to call on Diane Forsyth. Diane, so you can share something with us, make a connection. Anything?
I have not made any connections. I just got back gosh, an hour and a half ago. I've been visiting grandchildren, but they are not outside the country. No, I just got back from west of the Twin Cities, where that's Minneapolis and St. Paul. They live in Minnesota. It was 94 coming through St. Paul. Crazy. And I was in Champaign, Illinois, where another grandson is. So that was quite something. However, I would like to tell you folks, if anyone is interested in, who is in the United States, look up the Open World program. My Rotary Club has a delegation coming from Turkmenistan, and I think they might have a Rotary Club there. So I'm going to check into that. And when the delegation arrives and stays with us, perhaps introduce them to ITHF. And they come, there are 5 or 6 of them. They come for a week and visit. And then hopefully we'll be able to go and visit them, but there's no obligation. It's a combination Rotary and Department of State program. It's called Open World. Look it up if you're in the United States. You can apply and have visitors come. Last year we had visitors from Tajikistan, which did have a Rotary Club at one time, but doesn't anymore. So we sent them home with lots of information. Hopefully we can get some ITHFers and Rotarians in Tajikistan. So I'm working on finding members around the world, not just here in the United States. It's worth a try anyway.
Sounds like it. Sounds like a very interesting project and a program that you're doing. This will be when, Diane, when it's gonna happen? What is gonna happen? What you're mentioning?
Well, the Turkmenistan delegation is coming October 13th through the 21st. And they'll be in Wapaka during that period of time. And they're coming interested in sustainable tourism. If you look up Turkmenistan, I think it's something like 90% desert, but they do have a lot of ancient history, unlike Wisconsin. We'll get them on the Ice Age trail. That's what we can do. That's about the oldest stuff we have, although we think we might be able to get them up to the Oneida Reservation. Yeah, they have well, look up Turkmenistan. It's a very interesting country. Tajikistan was also, and they are very much attuned to learning English. So they all spoke way better English than I speak Tajik, that's for sure.
My goodness, very good. Well, who else has not shared? How about you, Judy? Judy Edmonds?
Well, I haven't done a lot of traveling in the last few months, but I would welcome anybody who wants to experience Arizona. We have the most amazing, spectacular landforms. We have ancient Indian cultures. We have every sport you can imagine, every symphony, ballet, whatever. There's just so much to see and do. Our museums are fantastic. This is probably not the best month to come. You're gonna wanna wait till October or the winter months to visit because of the heat, but we would certainly be welcome to host anybody who wants to come. I had the most interesting one-day visit with an ITHFer when we were doing the Amtrak across the country, and we stopped in New Orleans. And Gail was had just returned from Europe. She was on her way 2 days later on another extended international tour, and she took a whole day out of her time to guide us around New Orleans and show us things we would never have seen as tourists. It was wonderful. We were staying in a hotel. We didn't stay with her, but she took her time to drive us around. We went to lunch. We saw neighborhoods. We saw parks. We saw things that we would never have experienced about the real life in New Orleans and the culture and history of New Orleans. Beyond the French Quarter and all the tourist places. It was just wonderful. And I was just so impressed with her willingness to sacrifice a day out of the 2.5 days that she had between international trips to spend time with us. And I think that HTHFers, we do that sort of thing. We welcome people and are willing to put some of our personal things aside for a few hours to be with people from all over the world. And it's so enriching. I'm just so glad to be a part of this group.
Thank you.
I've stayed with Gail Dellinger also, and I can't say enough about what a wonderful host she is.
Yes, isn't she something? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see, somebody wants to raise their hand, or should I pick somebody to ask?
Well, I've got my hand up already.
Oh,
don't know if you
yes,
saw it.
yes, Andy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Just wanted to make a couple more comments. I hear a lot of complaining about weather. from everybody, or not everybody, but many of you. And I just wanted to mention here in Quito, because we're at the equator, about 15 kilometers from the equator in high altitude. Today was about 68 degrees Fahrenheit, about 20 Celsius. And that's pretty much the weather all year. The only difference is whether it's raining or not raining. So definitely, if you have weather concerns, this is a good place to visit. The second thing I would mention, I see about half of you. I don't know where you are. I mean, if there's a way you can update your name, if you just click the 3 dots on the upper right of your picture, there's a way you can update your name on there and add your location. I think it's great if everybody can see where they are.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, Judy, you're talking about weather. Well, at this moment, we are having monsoons, but just before the monsoons, our temperature was really bad. So we went to 52 degrees centigrade and we were really bad. So you don't talk about weather being bad at your part of the world.
Okay. Okay.
Andy, I have a very, as I mentioned, I have a very, very good friend from Ecuador. She's from, she's not from Quito. It's close to Quito. It's also a pretty large city.
Well, it's Guayaquil, Guayaquil is actually the biggest city. Third biggest city is Cuenca.
Okay, I think she's from Cuenca. I think she is, but she has lived in the United States for a long time. But she goes to Ecuador every year for 3 months, and she says it's just wonderful weather, wonderful weather. And I have threatened to go with her one time, but I
You
hope
should check
to
it
go
out.
in.
It's pretty nice, and I think as far as Latin America goes, it's relatively safe.
Yes, yes. So I hope to be able to visit, and I promise that if I do, I will contact you, definitely. And the same
Sounds
thing
good.
here in Pennsylvania, if you are here. And I see Kimberly has her hand up. Kimberly?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. Judy, where in Arizona are you?
In the Phoenix area, in the greater Phoenix area. We're in just south of Chandler.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly where that is. I'm a University of Arizona grad, so.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And my son and his wife and one boy live in Marana, so I'm pretty familiar with that area.
Okay.
Yeah, it really is nice. Although, trust me, you do not want to be there this time. June, July, and August it's only it's not for the weak of heart.
Yeah, but we do have air conditioning.
Yes, and it's a dry heat. I get it. I know. I lived there for 14 years, but it's still hot.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot. But we have swimming pools.
Yep, it's beautiful.
Steve, how about yourself? Do you want to share something with us? Steve Hempel?
Oh, well, no, I was just doing this. But anyway, I am in Montana, and at the moment there's a downpour of rain here. And I would say that we have had rain 19 out of the last 20 days, which is extremely unusual, but we're not complaining because we don't have the fires in Canada and we don't have the drought in California or Arizona. So I feel a little guilty having everything fire. But I did have a question. This morning in my Sunrise Rotary Club meeting, I was sitting and we got an award for sending money to help the earthquake victims in the area around Turkey. And also in terms of Nepal, I see being represented here. For the last 4 years, we've sent support and a team from Bozeman Sunrise Rotary to rural schools in Nepal to try to help them. So we're pretty active. And our emphasis is on getting new, younger members. So my question is, and I asked at my table this morning, do you know about this ITHF? And none of them did. I know we're all in the older bracket of ages, but what's the future and what should I be telling people in their 30s that just joined Rotary?
About the ITHF or about Rotary in general? About Rotary in general? or what's the future of Rotary? Anybody wants to answer what Steve, just the question that Steve just asked? Anybody?
I'm sorry, can I interject something about that? This is
Sure.
the new Rotary year is coming up and your new district governor will be coming on board. And many times they do not realize that there's such a thing as a fellowship chair for the district. And which I've been the fellowship chair 2 years, I'm not now, but probably will be one again for District 6930 in Florida. I'm in an E club. I live in West Virginia, but I'm in an E club in Florida. And if you would be willing to volunteer as the fellowship chair for your district, or at least offer yourself up as a speaker, that you know Rotary clubs are always looking for speakers, and that's a really good way to get the message out, not only about ITHF but about all the fellowships that Rotary has to offer, because many people don't know anything at all about the fellowships. They think Rotary is a once a week kind of thing, maybe go clean a highway or do some other project, but they don't realize all the really cool fellowships that Rotary has to offer. So if you're at all interested in being the fellowship chair for your district or even for your club, so that you can spread the word, I think that would be really helpful.
Steve, Andy here in Ecuador. I kind of get what you're asking. You're trying to engage younger people and get them interested in what's going on. And, I think some people join Rotary just to go to the meetings, but a lot of people join because they want to make a difference in the world. And I think ITHF is a good way to link both the travel and kind of your personal enrichment and making a difference. So for instance, in my case, I mentioned last year I went to Uganda. I was hosted by an ITHF member there, which Uganda I probably would not, even though I'm a fairly adventurous traveler, I might not have gone there unless I had somebody to help me. But then in addition to that, my host, who's Rosette Nabuma, is very heavily involved in ITHF, but she's not here at this meeting. Turns out she runs a high school for severely, disadvantaged kids, very, very, very poor kids around Kampala. And so we actually ended up coming up with a project out of that too. So it wasn't just like a travel and tour around and get that enrichment part of it, but now we're setting up a computer lab at the high school. And so I think if somebody's younger, and it's a good way for them to take a trip that they can. Number one, it's certainly more economical if you have somebody hosting you. Secondly, you can go places that you might be uncomfortable going otherwise just by yourself. And then thirdly, you have a good chance to identify some things that you can really make a difference. You can see something in person, a real difficult situation somewhere, and say, wow, I think I have an idea how to help with this. And I think all those are selling points for especially younger people who have the energy and want to do some stuff. Does that answer your question maybe a little bit more?
Good answer.
Okay.
Yeah. And
can I answer Steve? Can I answer Steve's? Oh, sorry, Alicia. Could I answer Steve specifically about getting younger people in?
Couldn't quite hear.
Are you asking a specific question about getting people involved in fellowships or in Rotary?
I wanted to answer Steve's question about getting people into Rotary. I know there's a multitude of different options, but we've just been, I'm going to suggest from two angles. One, we had a breakout at the convention that was about doing community surveys to see what the need is in the community. And we've just had a perfect example of that. We didn't do a survey, but we've had a group of 6 young women join us in this last month. And they already had formed their own informal group wanting to support mental health in youth, young people. Yeah. And they'd had a group that had raised funds in the past and put counsellors into schools and things. But they were looking for an organisation where the organisational side of it was already organised, already there, and they could come and just contribute partly for what they wanted, but also for the wider picture of Rotary. Now, these are 6 young women in their 40s, maybe early 50s, and they're really enthusiastic. So there may be groups in your community which you could partner with and who might then decide to come on board in your situation. That's just an example from us in the last week.
Yeah. From the, do you have Rotaracts in your area, I assume, Steve, right? You have
Yes, it was.
Rotaract.
Yes,
Yes.
we started it twice. And the first one was a failure because it involved university students. And within 2 or 3 years, they'd have all graduated and gone someplace else. So
Sure.
that was not a good strategy. And then we, up until this year, the second attempt has been quite strong. And we've had several people, in fact, the one who's new president-elect came up through the ranks from Rotaract. But there's still some sliding back on that. It's shrinking. It's not maintaining itself. And that's always been kind of a problem for us.
I see. Anyone has any other ideas that you would like to share with Steve? Okay, Tim.
I just wanted to add a little bit to what Andy said about Rosette in Vancouver and in Uganda. Andy put me in touch with Rosette, and I found that she is doing this great work in Uganda with helping the very poor get a good education. And it so happened that we had a speaker at our meeting a few weeks ago from a woman who's doing a very similar thing in Tanzania. So it struck me that, you know, it'd be good to put Rosette in touch with this other person in Tanzania because, you know, they're doing pretty similar things. And it just spoke to me of the connections that are possible within Rotary, just kind of at the drop of a hat. You don't expect them and bang, it suddenly happens.
Point.
Okay. Could I ask somebody else? How about Whale? Do you want to share something with us?
Sure. Thank you very much. My name is Wale. I'm calling, also I'm in Milton, Ontario, Rotary Club of Milton, District 7080 in Ontario. I have been a member of this fellowship for a while. Unfortunately, I never received communication, but Madhu, who I also met at the convention because I was at the convention, we've known each other for a while because we are both members of the International Federation of Rotarian Musicians. So we kind of aligned, and then, you know, she put me through. Now I get all the emails. Excellent. Thank you so much, Madhu, for that opportunity. And Madhu was also doing a presentation with Bonnie, who is also a member of IFRMM at the WASH. You know, with the WASH, I'm a member of WASH, which is Water and Sanitation Action Group. So she was there in Melbourne delivering, taking care of one of the breakout sessions. My district, or my club specifically, about 3 clubs within my district, sometimes in mid-August, we have RFE, which is a Rotary Friendship Exchange, with District 2400 in Sweden. So between me and my wife, we'll be hosting a couple, and then sometimes towards the end of September, we will, you know, the reciprocatory visit. We'll go back to Sweden and, you know, visit them at the district. Yeah, that's all I can say for now. It's been a pleasure, you know, being part of this meeting. Thank you.
Well, we're so glad that you're here, and thank you for everything. And, you know, mentioning about the friendship exchange, the student exchange. Steve,
no, Rotary Friendship Exchange.
The Rotary Friendship Exchange. The Rotary Friendship Exchange. Steve, I don't know if you have, if you know from other clubs or from your club, if you have had young people who were in the Friendship Exchange or on some other exchanges that Rotary has sponsored, specifically the Friendship Exchange, but we also sponsor, of course, the other things where we involve people that are young. And I don't know if any of those clubs or like the Youth Friendship Exchange, if anybody has returned, participated from your area. We just recruited recently a young woman who was a Friendship Exchange student, and then she graduated from college and now she's working, and we just happened to know about her, and she has just joined Rotary. But again, that's just maybe one person, but nonetheless somebody who is very interested in Rotary from previous exchanges. That's another thing. And let me see, Candy. We haven't talked to you, Candy. So what would you like to share with us?
Well, I live in San Francisco and Honolulu, Hawaii. And right now I am in San Francisco, but I will be in Honolulu, Hawaii on July 9th until August the 3rd. And then I come back to San Francisco for 10 days. Then I go back to Hawaii on August 17th to September the 3rd. And I cannot make up my mind. I left my heart in San Francisco, but I love Hawaii. And if anybody want to hang out with me in either city, San Francisco or Honolulu, let me know. And if I'm there, I would be more than happy to host you. And I just wanted to say, joining ITHF has been a joy of my life. I met so many wonderful people. On 2 cruises, I was with Madhu. And I was with Madhu in Europe. And then I went to Brazil with a group of people, Carol and Faye. And then I went to the Tasmania trip. It was a blast. So you guys all are godsend to me. And I just don't have any rights to complain about anything, no matter how hot it is, how cold it is, what the weather is. You know, it has been a good ride. And I went to the international convention and my heart was pounding when I saw people I knew on the ITHF trips. And it has been wonderful so far. And I'm planning, I already paid for my trip, my deposit for Nepal. I'm looking forward to that. And I don't know if you can see my home. I have a very handsome Buddha over there. I don't know if you can see it. Yep. Well, that was my best friend.
Okay, so. Very good. Thank you so much. Yeah, well, we have a few people that we haven't spoken or heard from. That's Faye and if I mispronounce the name, please forgive me. Rao, I think, and of course Mashor. I'm sorry.
Maheshwar from Nepal.
Maheshwar. I will make sure that, and also Saf. We also want to make sure that we hear from you. So we'll let's start with Mashor. Do you want to say anything?
Yes, of course. Thank you. We are organizing a ITHF Buddhist circuit tour in October. India, Nepal and India tour, which is going to be a very exciting spiritual journey for peace and knowing more about the life of Buddha and his teachings. So we are at the moment gathering participants for this, and then we are expecting about 30 participants for this trip. And there are few responses, not very overwhelming so far yet. But anybody interested and any questions, I will be delighted to explain and satisfy the queries. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, and let me ask, Rao, do you want to say something? Can you hear me? Rao Janamani?
Rao, you want to say something? Oh, Rao has left.
Well, how about Faye? How about you, Faye?
Okay, I just want to say it's nice seeing everyone. It's always that's the thing about Rotary, that you always have friendly and inviting face. And it's nice seeing you, Sheena, down under. And we were in the Amazon together, and Candy, Carol just left, and Carol. And when we talk about inviting young people to be a part of Rotary, We need to listen to them. We need to listen to what they want to do, because we like to say the future belongs to the youth. Let's give it to them by listening to them, because that's how we're going to get them to be a part of it. We cannot invite them in and then try to tell them what to do. We need to listen and work with them to achieve the goal, because they see the world differently from how we see the world. If I may say, we already screwed up the world. So, you know, let them create a world of, you know, peace and harmony. So, you know, so that I think this is the way that you're going to get young people to be a part of Rotary.
Good,
That's
thank
my
you.
2 cents.
And Saf, how about you, Saf? Do you want to share something with us? Saf, are you there?
Thank you for asking. Yes, it's great to see a lot of friendly faces. We traveled to Brazil with ITHF, Candy, Carol, Sheena.
Oh, so
Faye,
that's you, right?
you all.
What happened to your camera? Because I'm wondering who you are.
I don't have the camera hooked up. I'll have it tomorrow morning. I think I'll be at the meeting tomorrow morning also, because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it to this meeting. And I just want to say, Luis, thank you. You've done a great job of including each and every person to participate in this, which is great. Recently came back from, I'd spoken with
Saf, are you there?
yes, I lost the connection for a second. We were in Quito and the Galapagos a month and a half ago. It was absolutely fabulous. And I think Andy had been very generous in offering to help with whatever he could. Unfortunately, we couldn't get together before we went because we had just come back from another trip. So, but it worked out absolutely beautifully. And that's the beauty of ITHF and Rotary members, to extend the hand out there to see everybody have a good time. Thank you for including me in this.
Well, good to have you. Good to have everybody. Steve, one more thing about young people, because I am firm believer, like Faye says, that we need to get more young people, and we need to ask them what is that they want to do when Rotary and the club support them. But here in Allentown, which is the city near us, the city has a program where they invite young professionals. Actually, it's called the Young Professionals Organization. I don't know if where you live they have anything like that, but there are young professional organizations in many places. And what we have done is we have invited these people to join any Rotary club that is within the area that we live. It doesn't have to be my club. It can be another club, but we do go to their meetings and we do talk about Rotary. And specifically, we want them to understand why we are here. Why is the beauty of Rotary? What all the work that we do locally, internationally, and all the opportunities to not only do service, but by ITHF to have fun. And by the way, also I want you to know, I am going around my district talking about fellowships, because many people don't know, and specifically I spend more time about ITHF. My presentation is called The Best Kept Secret in Rotary Fellowships, because it is true that not many people know. If anybody's interested in my presentation, I'll be glad to share it with you. Just text me and send me a chat, and the chat your email, and I'll send it to you. But anyway, that's just another idea, Steve, about bringing younger people. I am one of the old Rotarians, and I know that we need younger people that are just as passionate about Rotary. And we also have mentorships for the new younger people. We have mentors to make sure that, well, they can answer their questions or whatever, and we learn from them. These are younger people that have ideas very different from us. But I'll be more than glad to send you the presentation, and if you want it. I just need to have the email. But well, it's
Before
Can I
you
add
end,
what we're doing?
Alicia. Sorry,
Yes.
go ahead, Debbie. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, within 2 years, the president of our Rotary Club, and we have over 150 members, is going to be a young lady who is, at that time, she'll be 35, and she's the co-owner of a jewelry store. Her father was a Rotarian. But one thing we've found, and I have to check to see how well they're doing, is that some of our younger people, they can't make breakfast or lunch or whatever. They were meeting at happy hour and they didn't have meals. They're trying to keep the cost down, you know, for being members of Rotary. So they were like the happy hour Rotary Club, and they didn't necessarily meet every week. So that's a thought that people may want to have. Our Rotary Club, we had a guy that we had sponsored, gave him scholarships or whatever, went to the Peace Corps. He's now back and he's very involved with Rotaract. And, you know, we've been getting him more people too, and we do projects with them. But the thing to keep in mind is they may not always be able to come at the times that we're used to having Rotary meetings, is one thing.
We meet at 6:45 in the morning, and is what I tell people, you don't have anything else scheduled at that time, do you? And that's a good opening line that I've used. And we did try a happy hour, small group for younger people on that basis, but I was kind of skeptical about it. I went a few times, and it didn't work. They really didn't get involved in the Rotary Club projects. So it was a social hour, but it didn't translate. The one program that I really loved, and I ran it for the district for about 6 years, was the group study exchange program. And I led a team to Brazil, southern Brazil, and we were there for 4 weeks, 6 young people. One of them canceled out. And then we were just treated really well, and we had learning experiences. One of them was from an ophthalmologist in a small town in Brazil of about 10,000 people, something like that. And he took us to a pizza place where we could have beer and pizza. And that was going to be a good social time. But he had one condition. We could not speak anything other than Portuguese. And that's a way to learn a language.
Sure.
At that particular year, Rotary International had enough money that they sent us to Berlitz in Los Angeles for 5 days before we went down there. And we really did try to learn a language in a rapid time. And at one meeting in this small town, the club president leaned over to me and said, we can understand what you were trying to say. We have no idea what the team from England is trying to say. So trying to speak the language goes a long way. And then it was great inviting these teams that I coordinated, incoming and outgoing. At my house, I had an Australian team stay, some of them at my house. I had the Rotarian organizer from the team in India stay at my house. I had a group of Japanese exchange people for dinner on my deck. And it just goes on. But I think the program was too expensive, but sure fun.
Well, you are talking to a group study exchange person. I came to this country with a group study exchange in 1971, sponsored by 6 Rotarian families in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And I returned to the U.S. Well, one of my families actually is the one who helped me get my visa to the United States. And the next year I was back in the USA living, and obviously at that time women were not accepted in Rotary. But when women were accepted, I continued to be involved with Rotary because my families were my families until all my mothers and fathers died. They are all dead. But I became a Rotarian and continue to be involved with Rotary. And here I am, happy and very proud of being a Rotarian. So anyway, we're going to be saying pretty soon goodbye. So Diane, yes, Diane?
I have one other idea. Hopefully I'll get it in before the fireworks from down a couple doors away start again. We have a satellite club in Wapaka. It's called the Satellite Club of Wapaka Rotary, Friends of 6220 Rotary Youth Exchange. We found that the Central States Youth Exchange people wanted to get together and talk to each other, but they're scattered all over the UP, that's the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and Wisconsin. So it's a satellite club and it's a Zoom. It's an online club that we've helped to start as a satellite club. And one of our former Rotary Youth Exchange students is actually a member of that club. In fact, there may be two of them, one slightly older and one who's Rotaract age, actually. So younger people kind of tap into all of those alumni. Rotary Youth Exchange kids have a lot of energy. Oh my gosh, they have a lot of energy. And the people, the host families and the clubs who have, we usually have 2 to 3 inbound and outgoing. So we're really big in Rotary Youth Exchange. That'll get younger people going. Have them do something online. You get all sorts of different ideas.
Thank you, Diane. Nadu, you want to say something?
Yes, please. I would really like to thank Leslie and Tim for hosting me. I had a wonderful time, and I had never been to a cemetery abroad within the country, yes, because I did heritage walk. So I'm extremely thankful to Tim for taking me, and I enjoyed the home cooked meals a lot. And Leslie had really taken all her time to show me beautiful birds, and I'm very much into photography and birding. So I enjoyed my time thoroughly, and we got along talking about so many things. So yes, I'm very thankful to both of you. I did go to Gels Park to do a little bit of birding on behalf of the Bird Watching Fellowship, and thoroughly enjoyed my trip in Victoria. I restricted myself to Victoria State only and did not go anyplace else. And I met with my club, as you can see from my background, that I'm a member of the E-Club of Melbourne. And we are fairly young members in our club. We do have some of our members, senior members. And we meet online on Wednesday, Melbourne time, 8 o'clock the evening, and which is very convenient for India because it's afternoon, late afternoon in India. And I've been a member since 2013 when the club got chartered. So I'm a past president of the club. It was a challenge to run the club from India, but I did it. And so I met up with our club members, and that was wonderful because my last visit to Melbourne was 2019 when I went for the PETS, the President-elect training, and also for the changeover. So I was very happy to meet some of our new members and some of our existing members. So it was just a wonderful time that I had, at least for a month, nearly a month, in Victoria. And that's what I wanted to say. Also that please do spread the word to join the Nepal and India Buddhist Trail trip. It would be a wonderful one. I did make a presentation out of which interest came up from members to say that we would like to visit, and the trip is happening because of that. So I would really like all of you to spread the word so that other ITHF members can join the trip. Over to you, Alicia.
Thank you. Okay, we have 2 more hands, and that would be pretty much the last input and sharing that we'll have before we say goodnight. So I'll start with Sav.
Yes, thank you. Madhu, with your permission, you sent the email on Alonso's trip in Brazil and Argentina and Paraguay. I'd mentioned in the earlier conversation that we did do that last November, and he's doing one again this November. And I think if anyone hasn't has any thoughts about it, I can tell you it was absolutely the most fabulous trip that ITHF Alonso arranged for all of us Rotarians. So please do avail of that if you get a chance. Just a plug in for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mashur, you have something else?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to share that last month I hosted a ITHF member Subir from North Carolina, and he enjoyed staying with us for almost a week because in between he went to the Everest Base Camp trek for 2 weeks and came back, and again he went to Bhutan for a few days and come back with us. It was a very exciting time for him, as well as we enjoyed hosting him. And this winter, starting, as I said earlier also, starting in October 25, we are trying to promote trying to do this Buddhist tour of Nepal and India. And myself and Madhu trying to collect as many participants as possible, but we can accommodate only 30 at this time. So we would appreciate if you communicate with us, me as well as Madhu, and we can make it a great event for the ITHF experience of Buddhist spirituality in India, Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, it has been wonderful to be with all of you. Really, I love ITHF too, and getting together. Thank you so much, everybody. And before we leave, I just want to mention to you about our upcoming virtual tours that, of course, you can join us and sign up so you can join us via Zoom. On June 24th and on July 28th and 29th, we will have a virtual tour of West Africa. On August 25th and 26th, it will be the Hidden Secrets of California. The September 29 and 30 project fairs. October 27 and 28, Ecuador. November, we won't have any presentation because of Thanksgiving, so everybody enjoys it. December 8 and 9, we have again pre-holiday coffee and connections. And then January 26, 27 next year, we'll have a taste of Eastern Europe, and yours truly will be presenting the trip from Finland all the way to Budapest. And then February 23rd to 24th, Patagonia and Antarctica. So please, this is all the things that are upcoming, and you will be getting the invitations. And also the physical tours, the things that you can actually sign up for already in the ITHF website. October 5th through November 3rd, the November 2nd, the Buddhist Circuit Tour of Nepal and